surprise has been the Cavs. Just seeing what they're dealing with injury-wise, seeing how Mitchell has kept them afloat. He's not getting a lot of love for I don't hear people talking about, MVP or All NBA, but to be second in the East with that team and what they've been through and how he's kind of guided them and what he's doing, that's been really, really impressive. I think he should get more love. Yeah, I definitely saw it. I don't have many thoughts on the whole JJ Pat Bev part, but to the JJ Doc situation, I felt what JJ was saying, to be honest with you. Like it's been, if you kind of look in history, it's always been something of why, something didn't go right or whatever. And I'm not saying this Doc's a heck of a coach, he's a Hall of Fame coach. But when it comes to actually when it's in the public and when he's, asked a question about why this happened, why that happened, it's always seemed to be a reason why it happened. So I definitely feel JJ on that. It has nothing to do with, like I said, Doc's actual coaching ability. It's just kind of what it is. First off, I was surprised the coaching change happened. Like they have one of the best records in the league, period. And usually, even with a first year guy, let's say he's struggling and they're, a little above 500, you would say, okay, he's working out the kinks. It's his first year. Let's let him go through a playoff and see how he adjusts or what happens. Because the Bucks are one of those teams that no matter what, they're going to be judged on their playoff success. So I was surprised about that happening. And, I'll just say the pressure is on. Now the pressure's on both of them to make it happen, the Bucks and Doc, because now you have a ready-made team. You have a ready-made coach. There's no excuses. You got Dame Lillard. You got Giannis. You got the pieces around them. There's no excuses. So I think it has to happen this year for sure. I'm sure there's a team that can, but I think this is Boston's year. I feel like the way they're put together, they got Drew Holiday and Porzingis, and yeah, they got more talent, but they actually got more mature. And I think some of their shortcomings were turnovers at crucial moments. Maybe not as much flow with their offense, maybe too many threes and not diversifying that way. And I think Drew Holiday plays inside the three line. Porzingis can play in or out, right? He can post up. He can go to the mid post. He can his scoring can kind of, if a low is coming, he can kind of get them through that low by going inside and slowing the game down some. So I think this is Boston's year. I think they have the best starting five. Obviously, Tatum is sharing the ball at a high rate, and he's allowing other guys to be stars in their roles, and he's still being the superstar he is. So I think Boston is ready to make it happen this year. It's been disappointing. Chicago was how Sacramento was the feel-good team last year, right? Chicago was that a couple years ago. Lonzo was healthy, obviously. You had Caruso, you had Zach and DeMar together, and they had that feel-good team, and they just lost all that momentum. Like they've lost all of it. And obviously injuries happen. You can't control that. But the other part of it is just where are they going? Now it doesn't seem like DeMar, Zach, and that crew are the best fit for each other. Kobe White has gotten better. So that's going to change, people's roles a little bit who had established roles. So it's just they're low-key in transition right now. I saw they lost last night to Detroit. But they have to figure out where they want to go, But like I said, White kind of rising up has been a really cool thing for them and for him as well. I'm not sure, but obviously if Zach's involved in trade, you can get a bunch of pieces. So it depends on which route you want to go. I think Zach would be a great, second, number two, number three guy, depending on where he goes, right? Let's just throw out a team like the Lakers. He'll be a great number three option for them. But he can go somewhere else and be a great number two option on a winning team. Then you have DeMar. Say you keep Zach. You have DeMar who can fit in so many different situations. He can go to a team and be the great vet and still produce. He can go to a team and be a third option as well. So it's just they're really, really good players. I'm just not sure how much they fit together at this point with how the team is set up. Yeah, I love the moves they made. The Knicks are interesting because they can be a team that could definitely get to the playoffs, but I could see them struggling if it's the wrong matchup. But I can also see them going on a run if it's the right couple matchups, and the way they're built with OG, Julius comes back healthy. Like you said, Brunson could have been an all-star last year. Like their team is set up really nicely. They bought into what Tibbs is doing. He's done a great job with those guys, putting them in position. So now it's just about getting healthy and making that run and kind of peaking at the right time, and they have the ingredients. And we all know when New York is rocking, it's a tough place to play, right? Like I went to a playoff game there last year, and it was unbelievable. Cleveland didn't have a chance because They were playing against the Knicks, but they felt like it's playing against the whole city. So that was really cool to see. It was disappointing, and it's been disappointing the last few years, if I'm being honest. I dreamed about playing in the All-Star game because it was like, okay, you're recognized as the best of the best, but you get a chance to play against the best at the highest level. For one game when you got the best in the sport and the whole world is watching, you guys are going at it. Like that part of competition is lacking. And the fact that we say, you know, oh, we don't want to get hurt. You can get hurt anywhere. Like it happens. You can get hurt in pickup. You can get hurt in a game. You can get hurt working out by yourself. I see guys go harder in workouts by themselves on the court than they do with the best players in the world. And that's disappointing because what are we teaching the younger generation that's watching the game? Like, what are we, I coach kids, right? So what am I telling them? Oh, yeah, such and such player is a great player, but he's not going to play hard when it comes to an exhibition or all-star game. He's not going to compete. That's not what we're teaching. And it's so much bigger than just that game. It's about the game itself and where it's going. Because these are the leaders of the game right now, right? And what kind of tone are we setting for the next generation? That part bothers me. I like Malik Monk always. I love how he plays. I think Norman Powell will get consideration. I think Bobby Portis will be in the mix, depending on how Milwaukee ends up. It's an individual award, but it's a team award because you can have a guy averaging 20 off the bench, but they're not winning. So you can't be in the mix if your team is not winning. And so those guys I said definitely, are having a great season along with winning, which is more important than anything. I think Chet's right there as well. It's just tough when you factor in, like we said, winning. It's just tough not to have Chet right there as well. Like Victor he's a whole different type of creative player. Like he's a whole different thing, and he's going to be the face of the league for a long, long time. And I think Chet can be one of the faces of the league for sure. But it's just hard to just ignore a person that's number two. I was taught, like there was a couple All-Stars, especially the first one I thought I should have made when I was with the Knicks, actually. And they were like, yeah, you got the numbers, but your team's not winning. And I totally understood. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Like they follow each other, right? But we can't ignore Chet being number two on a team that's number two in the West at that. Like, and he's a huge, huge piece of that. So for me, I think let's let this next month play. I don't think it's a lock. I really don't think it's a lock either way. I think we need to let this next month play out and see what happens. For me, right now, today, if you ask me to vote and I had one, I would vote, I think SGA. I think SGA, Tatum, and Joker for me are probably the top three. I just think what SGA is doing is just incredible. He's shooting 54% as a guard. He's averaging over 2 steals a game. He's averaging 31 points, 6 assists, 5 boards, or something like that. And the thing that's really crazy about it is he's doing that as a young player in the league who's trying to establish himself, but he's not taking away from everybody else. And his team is number 2 in the West. So you got to give him his props there. With Tatum, he's the best player on the best team in the league, and they have been. And his numbers, he's not like averaging over 30 like he could, but the sacrifice he's given in leading his team, and he's still so young. I think if Tatum wins MVP, everybody would look at the totality of what he's done in his career. 5-time All-Star, All-Star MVP. Like, he's been to the finals, been to the Eastern Conference Finals in a different year. Like he's done some things. So for me, he's right there. And then Joker's he's so good. It's a joke. It really is a joke how good he is. He's playing the game backwards. And when I say that, I mean, most people that average that many points, they're trying to score. He's trying to score last. Like he's trying to set everybody else up, and he hates attention. He's just balling. So for me, he'll always be there. And then Giannis is having a crazy year as well. The league right now is in a special place as far as how guys are so talented.
Yeah, and that's not even mentioning the guy who scored 73 points in a game this year. Just it's there's so much overflow.
Yeah, and Luka, how can we not talk about Luka? Luka is so good. It's like he's been here before. And what I mean by that is like he plays with such wisdom and such pace and he's such a savant. He's unbothered. I may have never seen a more unbothered player. Like you can't bother Luka whatsoever. And he makes his pace is so good, he makes his pace your pace. And that's what's crazy about him, right? Like he can always just lure you to sleep, explode, and he's doing it. He's a wizard. Like he's one of the smartest basketball players to ever play already at this young age. This is not going to be a popular opinion, but I'm going to do it on the West, especially. I got Boston in the East, and in the West, I have the Phoenix Suns.
Wow. Going with
Yeah, see, that's what I wanted. That wow right there that you gave me is what is going to do it. I feel like for them, they've been struggling the season. Obviously, their fourth quarter struggles, but I don't think they'll stand pat. I think Royce O'Neal was a sneaky pickup. I also think that Phoenix is built for the playoffs, and Kevin Durant, I just feel like is still he won't have the best season per se, but I still feel like he's one of the best players, if not the best player in the game. So I just trust him in the playoffs. I trust Booker in the playoffs. Obviously, Brad Beal has been a perfect third option, playing off of those two. I don't even want to call him a third option. He does a great job playing off of those two. And then you have, you know, just the. I think they're not done. I'll just say that. I don't think they're done yet, and I think they can make a run. Well, I think AI is definitely validated to say that, right? He has the certifications. You can't be mad at anybody saying Kyrie. Like Kyrie is a wizard. He does things that you just it leaves your jaw drop. Like how did he do it? Obviously, um, for me, I grew up on Isaiah Thomas with the Pistons. That was the first person I seen that kind of was like mesmerizing with the handle. So for me, he'll always be that for me. But Kyrie, if you say Kyrie, I'm like, okay, I get it. Obviously, he's number one or 1A, however you want to do it. Then I think you have Isaiah from the Pistons. I think you have White Chocolate, Jason Williams, who doesn't get enough love in that. Then you have the Steph Currys, the Chris Pauls, the Ray Alstons, the Rod Stricklands, Baron Davis. There's so many guys that can really handle the rock. With Allen Iverson, of course, but Nick Van Axel. My mind's just rolling now. Mahmoud. But I think if anybody says Kyrie, you can be like, okay, they know what they're talking about because Kyrie is top shelf.